राम प्रसाद जय जय राम प्रसाद जय जय
In the year 1979, the Iranian Revolution had just begun. But to fully understand what happened, we must go back to the beginning. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the leader of the revolution, arose from the political scene in 1963, leading the opposing campaign against the Shah's program, which promoted women's rights, equality in marriage, and authorized religious minorities to take office. He was then arrested in the same year for insulting the Shah. Khomeini was then released 8 months later and exiled from the country. The first demonstrations against the Shah, the monarch of Iran, appeared in October 1977. There were very few of Khomeini's militants, but the numbers quickly grew into the thousands. These demonstrations were closely followed by the first casualties from the major protests against the Shah.
تمام این بحران‌ها را امریکا ایجاد می‌کند.
These were formed by many Islamic students and leaders from the Iranian city of Qom, who were frantic about a controversial story in the press that they found extremely slanderous. The army was sent in to control and disperse the crowd, but many students were killed in the process, and this only created more controversy and protest against the Shah. Knowing that he was soon facing revolution, the Shah turned to the United States for help. The Shah had no problem doing so because of Iran's strategic placement and because it was the largest and strongest country situated in the Persian Gulf. The Shah had been partners with the United States for a long time, so gaining their favor was not so difficult.
I fully expect the Shah to maintain power in Iran and for the present problems in Iran to be resolved. The Shah has our support and he also has our confidence.
He was repeatedly assured by the National Security Advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, that they would back him up completely. Brzezinski was assertive to the fact that the Shah would receive military support if needed. President Carter's support was invariable, even though they knew the Shah's establishment was a lost cause. From the present day, looking back on those events, many Iranian citizens agree that the absence of interference from the American government were accountable for Khomeini's conquest of the Shah. In late August 1978, the Shah assigned a new prime minister. This prime minister reversed some of the monarch's policies, which included closing all the casinos and abolishing the imperial calendar. But none of these did anything to change the political situation in Iran. By the time September had arrived, the country's stability was quickly deteriorating and protests were becoming more and more frequent. In an attempt to counter this effect, the Shah brought out martial law, which banned public protests. Against all odds, on September 8, 1978, Iranian troops fired on the protestants and dozens lost their lives. This terrible day is referred to as Black Friday in Iran. As time went on, more and more workers were also protesting, sending the country's economy into darkness. Seeing that Khomeini was becoming a nuisance to him, the Shah prompted Iraq to deport him. So on October 3rd, Khomeini was sent to Kuwait, but seeing that he was refused his entry into the country, he was sent to France. By December 1978, the Shah's situation had degraded to such an extent that the Shah was losing control, much to his dismay. Finally, on January 16, 1979, he was obliged to leave the country with the Empress. This event was followed by a general display of happiness, and every trace of the Shah's ascendancy was obliterated in record time. Within a few days of the monarch's departure, the Prime Minister granted the return of the opposition leader, Khomeini. After being welcomed by millions of ecstatic people, the leader of the revolution officially declared Iran a Muslim republic on February 12, 1979. The revolution had become victorious.